Once there was a very poor miller who had a lovely daughter. The prince of their land was looking to be married, and the miller wanted the king to choose his daughter more than anything. The miller hatched a plan and sent word to the palace that his daughter was very special and worthy of the prince. "She can spin straw into gold," he lied. His daughter was upset that he had told such an untruth on her behalf, but thought no one would believe such a silly story. She was wrong. His lie caught the interest of the king, so he sent for the miller's daughter to be brought to the palace. When evening came, he locked her in a room filled with straw. The brown and yellow piles were stacked from the floor right up to the ceiling, and in the middle of it all stood a spinning wheel. "Spin the straw into gold by morning," he said, "and I'll consider you as a good wife for my son." The poor girl was very frightened. Surely, if she couldn't make the gold, then she and her father would be punished. She cried as she passed the straw through her hands. At midnight, a strange little figure popped up at the palace window. He had a pointy green hat on and a brown velvet suit. His shoes were curly at the toes, and he stood at barely 3 feet high. "Why are you so sad, little girl?" the creature asked. "I'm supposed to spin all this straw into gold," she said sadly, "but it's impossible." The little man smiled mischievously. "I can help you," he said. "I'm the best spinner in all the land. But if I'm to do this for you, I want something in return. If I spin all this straw into precious gold, you must give me something precious, your first-born child," the little man said triumphantly. The miller's daughter wasn't sure about that at all, but she was desperate to please the king and her father, so she agreed. Whooping with delight, the little man sat down at the spinning wheel and started to work. Tiny sparks flew from his nifty fingers. Straw went into the wheel, and sure enough, gold came out. By morning, the room was heaped with glittering gold strands. The little man popped back out of the window and into the dawn. When the king unlocked the door and saw the gold, he was very pleased. "Well then," he said, "looks as though I found a good and proper wife for my son." The miller's daughter was ecstatic, and her father wept with joy when he heard the news. The miller's daughter was married the very next month to the noble prince, and together they became the new king and queen. A year or two passed. The new queen had totally forgotten her promise to the little man with the green hat. It wasn't until after she gave birth to her first child that he appeared at the window of the palace once more. "I've come to claim what is rightfully mine," he sang out of the darkness. The queen was horrified. She knew she had to keep her word, or the king and his father would find out that she had lied about the straw. She tried to offer the little man all her money and jewels instead, but he couldn't accept it. "That isn't what I was promised," he cried. "Queen, I know the lie about spinning gold wasn't your idea. I will give you a chance to keep your baby if you play a game with me." The queen agreed at once. She would do anything to keep her child. The game is simple. I will return to you every night for the next 3 days. Each night you shall try to guess my name. If you don't get it right, by the time the sun comes up on the 3rd day, the child is mine. The queen spent the whole of the next day making a long list of all the names she had ever heard. That night she read all them to the little man, but none were right. His name wasn't James or John, not Matthew or Peter, not any of the names she knew. In preparation for the 2nd night, the queen sent her soldiers all over the kingdom to search for new names. Alas, on the 2nd night, she still couldn't guess correctly. By the 3rd day, the queen had lost hope. She sent her soldiers out again to search for names. They found nothing new apart from the last soldier. He returned with a very strange story. I was just passing through the forest when I saw a funny little man in a brown suit dancing around a big fire, he told the queen. He was singing, "Ha, ha, ha, the queen shall never win, for she'll never guess my name is Rumpelstiltskin." The queen and her soldiers cheered with delight. That night, when the little man arrived, the queen pretended for a little while. "Is your name Anansi?" "No," he answered. "Then, is it Kitsune or Tokoloshi?" "It isn't," he said. "Could it be Rumpelstiltskin?" she finally asked, smiling. The little man turned bright red and stamped his foot. "Be careful what you say, Rumpelstiltskin," said the wise queen. "You never know who might be listening." Screaming, he jumped out of the window and was never seen in the kingdom again. For infinity